Welcome to a striped I-cord tutorial from Imagine Landscapes. This is I-cord, and it's I-cord specifically with the back showing, and I wanted to talk a little bit about this because a lot of people get a little worried when they first start doing I-cord that it doesn't look good, and the first few rounds won't look good. They won't look round. Sometimes the first couple rows you can kind of tug on it a little bit while it's on the needle, and that will help. But the truth is that until it's gone a few rows from the needle, it's just not going to look good. And you can see here that right here the ladder is being opened and here it's shut. And it's because the needle is holding everything artificially open. But once it gets farther away, it wants to curl together. So just breathe deep and relax and know you're fine. The other thing I wanted to talk about is joining a new round for striping. So when we join a new yarn for I-cord and a stripe, all we have to do is hold the yarn so that we can knit the first stitch. Leave a tail long enough that you have stuff to work with. Don't make it a short tail, and simply do whatever you need to do to work the first row. I pinch the tail between my needle and my finger. That holds it in place, and that works for me. But there are lots of great things to do that work for you. So when you are changing color, or adding a color in I-cord, just knit across. The last stitch will be loose because of course it's attached to this end from the last color, and the first stitch will get loose because it's attached to the end of the new yarn. So what we're going to do is we are going to tie the tail to the new working yarn. And we are first going to pull the red yarn up and over so that we're tying behind it. And then we are going to just do a simple overhand knot the way that you would do when you were a child tying up the shoes. So it's just make a cross through the loop with the end, pull tight. Now, when we pull tight, we want it to be roughly the same distance as it will be when it is I-cord. So don't make it so skinny that it's gonna pull that point in the I-cord and pinch it. And then just tie a second knot. All right. So now we have the two tails, and what we're going to do is we're going to work the tail from the new yarn plus the tail from the color we want to continue because we're striping. If we were doing a two-color I-cord, there is another tutorial I have for what to do with this end, but basically what you can do is just trim this and treat it like this end. So we've got these two strands of yarn, one of them an end, one of them a color we're going to keep because we're striping, and we always want to bring those forward and the working yarn behind. So let me just kind of tidy that up so that it's visually clear. So now it's time for me to knit another row in this color. So I push it to the end, I work my I-cord, I knit across. And then what I need to do is I need to make sure that this tail comes behind the red yarn and the other tail. So I often will move my entire ball to make sure that that's happening. So I've got this coming in front. All right, now you can see the ball, and I can see that this yarn is going to come around behind. Once that happens, you can flip it back if you want, if that makes things feel a little better. But that's all there is to it. Make sure that the tail is being knit into the I-cord, and that this strand of yarn that you need for using later for a red stripe is available, and so you're knitting around it when you're working the I-cord. All right, so we've worked one stripe and now it's time to start back with that other color. So what do we need to do? Well, we need to make sure that we are we're just going to pick up this red. When we keep working, we will need to worry about coming from behind, but this first row, because we are coming up from inside, we are not going to be worried about going from behind. All right, so the first row of a new color, we simply pick it up and start knitting. And it's only starting in the second row that we worry about making sure that we're coming around and behind those two strands of yarn. One will be the tail and one will be the working yarn that we need, the yarn going off to the ball. We don't hop ahead, sorry, we just pick it up. And so with that first one, we just pick it up and knit it. I hope this helps you. If you have questions about this, feel free to ask them here or in the Imagine Landscapes Ravelry group is a place I check more often, or on Instagram. I'm at imagined_landscapes there. Hope this helps you. I love to help people make bold, colorful, and happy knitting, and especially gnomes. So happy knitting.